Good evening, boys and girls, and welcome to the final day of the PEL promotionals. I'm Toby, and you will be listening to my voice for the better part of the next 2.5 to 3 hours, probably. Hoping that everything will go exactly as it has to, and we'll be cutting our way through these 4 games that we will be seeing today. We've been seeing these 16 teams playing over the last 2 days. And, well, I mean, we've been through some interesting things along the way. We've had crazy plays, we've had some fails, we've had some impressive moments, we've had some vehicle explosions, we've had funny circles, we've had everything PUBG has to offer. And, well, I mean, now we're just waiting for these final 4 games to get underway so that we can get to see which exactly, what do you say? Exactly which teams, there you go, of these 16 we'll get to throw into contenders for phase number 2. For those of you guys wondering out there in the chat, it will be the top 6 teams that will be they'll be making their way into the finals. So it's not top 8. You have to be in the top 6. And as we could see before, I think the limit right now, or like the off-throw right now, is Art of War. They're just 2 points behind Medium Makers, so this is going to be an extremely close affair. And even for the guys that are already safe inside, they aren't that safe at all. I mean, you can see Medium Makers, they're sitting at 51 points total, but you have Temporary Name and Swarm and Art of War actually. Just Art of War, they're 9 points ahead of four Angry Kids. So this is very much within reach for pretty much anyone really at this point. I mean, if anyone puts up a good day, yesterday we saw this day started off with Personal Courage, get themselves 2 wins, and also Art of War, they had themselves a good showing. But for anyone today that can deliver here on the final day, they will see themselves in the contenders phase for contenders tournament for phase 2. It's gonna be interesting, and it's going to be extremely fun to watch all these guys play with everything on the line. And of course as well, now that I'm sitting here talking with you guys, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to write them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them as we go on through. Of course, it has to be somewhat related to what's going on here. I cannot ask all kinds of random questions throughout the day. That's going to be a long day, but nonetheless interesting day ahead of us, and I hope you guys are ready to watch it. If you're fanboying or fangirling any team coming into this tournament, do make sure to spam some love in the chat for the team that you support. And right already off the bat here, seems to me like LXG, despite having a pretty decent plan for where they would normally go to loot, have actually kicked out Wizards. And now Wizards, sure, they're sitting at 72 points currently. It's not that they're in the worst scenario, that they get off to a bit of a rough start here, but I mean, of course, it's an annoying way to start the game to have a place that you've been looting every single game of the tournament so far snapped away from you. Seems like Flurry has opted to go the Asian style with full yellow outfits. That does become a bit of a camouflage shoot if you have people playing with high digital vibrance on their PCs. So if you have that yellow tracksuit, make sure to get it on so you can get yourself some free camouflage, I guess you can say. Circle going somewhat north, going pretty far north actually, and we haven't really had a whole lot of northern circles in this group, so it's going to be interesting to see how these teams will play accordingly. Of course, not a whole lot of surprises when it comes to who's on top so far. But we have seen some of the teams that has been performing coming into the tournament falling a little bit down. I mean, we had the LXG. They won the very first game of the tournament. They're now sitting down in 9th place. They're not out, and they're not at all out yet. But there's a chance they might not get in. And also Riddle. I mean, right now the 4 teams make that actually, that are outside of making it in as Warrior in phase 1 is Aztec Warriors sitting at 16th. We have Ghost Legion. They are sitting at 12th. Then we have Venconas at 11th, and we have Riddle at 10th. Every other team inside, inside the top 6 are teams that we had coming into the, we had in contenders in phase 1. Temporary Name, they're going up over north. No reason for them to try and take a contested bridge, so they'll just maneuver their way westward, and should be pretty simple task for them to get further up inside this circle. Plenty of room to roam. They're going out early, and yeah, as you can see, they shouldn't really have any big issues finding themselves somewhere to call their home. Personal Courage, we talked about them earlier as well. I'm sitting in split first place right now, I guess you can say. They do have one more kill than Wizards, so that's gonna give them the upper hand in that tie. But they got themselves 2 wins back to back yesterday on the first 2 games. Extremely impressive plays coming out from them. Now we see here Wizards making their rotations on. The question is gonna be though what loot they actually have to work with. Wizards. I mean, we saw Mise. I'm not even sure Mise got to loot anything before, and well, hopefully now he's been able to get something. It is the top fragger, the top damage dealer of the tournament so far, but unable to claim back their loot spot from earlier. LXG, you can see them positioned up here in this shooting range area, getting some shots fired up towards temporary name. Ghost Legion as well. Early pressure being applied over towards medium makers on the northern side of the water. Seems like most of the teams have opted to go north of the water, and it kind of makes sense. Most argue that it's easier to traverse north of the water down to the south than it is to go from south of the river up towards the northern side. So it makes perfect sense to see so many teams up north already. 4AK. They've just left Military Island. They'll be making them move on forward any moment now, you'd assume, as the circle is closing on in. But before they do that, they have to rest Sniffle, because he just got run over by Runny. That's a feels bad man. Could be the difference in whether they get to the compound they wanted to in time or not. But of course, if you have a US and you want to, well, rotate, don't walk in front of it. That's not going to help you a whole lot. Intense, we've seen him throughout the tournament land some pretty crazy M24 and Kar 98 just bolt action and general headshots, and we'll see if he can do some more magic. Can you pull it off? Can you do it? Can you do it? Nope. But one guy that can't do it is Saga, because he can run over official. It's impressive to me how teams can continuously run over their teammates. It's something that happens to me, or not to me, something that happens to my, what do you say, understanding way too often. But hopefully, I mean, there's only the hope that teams will learn from the mistakes and stop doing it. That's really the only way that can be prevented. Just communicate. Running over each other is a sloppy work. Some might argue, others might argue that it's just part of the game and it happens to everyone. And it does happen to everyone. Doesn't matter if it's a tier 1000 team or the best of the best. Everyone tends to bump into their teammates with their vehicles every now and again. Aztec Warriors, they're going to go down and take this compound in the, I guess, somewhat Alamo, Granny compound up north. I've seen them sit here. They got themselves a really good second place game off of this position as well back in Contenders in phase 1. But not a whole lot more mounted to it than that. Now you can see they're splitting out 2-2, actually sending 2 guys further up, and this is a really smart split. They take plenty of ground. They have 2 good spots in the circle, and well, I mean, they have somewhat of a chance to cover each other should one be under pressure. We see Aurora now. They're pushing in from the side. If they crash down on towards it, it could be tricky. But now, of course, there is help. There is help in the top. You can see Dictator immediately start spraying on out towards the opponents up there. Actually, a bit surprising. I guess I was a little misinformative for how many people actually went north. They're pretty half split, but Circle does go east. So it doesn't really matter anymore, because the river won't be that much of a factor for too much longer. Not that much of a factor anymore. Outlaw making his rotation on out. Dictator's gonna get his vehicle too, and all of Aztec will start moving, and so will everyone else, because I think we had pretty much, I'm pretty sure we only had 1 or 2 teams in this new circle once it popped, which most teams will always be aware of, meaning that well, I mean, the faster you can get that rotation going, the faster you can get inside the new circle, the better of a position you could potentially end up getting. Wizards, they're driving up north over Everest, so it's Outlaw. These vehicles being put to the test. Not only can they run over teammates, but they can also drive straight up mountainsides. That's rather impressive. Ghost Legion, they're trying to get on inside the new circle as well. Get over and around the river here. They don't want to have to worry about the water if they can avoid having to do that. Plenty of rotations coming in as we speak. Cinematic views being brought to you by the observers from StarLadder. Purses, there you go, all in their vehicles. Buckies galore. Seems like they have themselves 2 USs as well, so a good split up between them. Might want to swap to a US. Nope, not gonna happen. Okay. 2 buggies, 2 USs will be the vehicles of choice for Persis, and they'll be making their way on over. And they need a good performance today. I mean, they need a really, really good day to finish off this one if they want to be in the top 6. Right now, they're sitting at second to last place with 29 points. They have been able to get 19 kills. They're pretty much tied up with both Aurora and Benkonas in kills. And actually not that far behind both Riddle and LXG either. They just have not really been able to get themselves enough placement points. They got themselves a somewhat decent placement yesterday. I believe we got the 3rd place in yesterday's games. But that, of course, is not enough when opponents can pull off bigger numbers than that. And you need to get inside that top 6. Again, that's what we were talking about before. If you don't get into top 6, well, then you're welcome to try and qualify for the Open League all over again. Yorkdale getting knocked. Sniffle and 4 and Crickets comes up to take him out. There you go. Eliminated, and that's going to be the first loss we get in the game here. So Riddle down 1 guy early. We talked about how they need a good performance today. And, well, I mean, of course, this is not the kind of start you want when everything is on the line and you only have 4 games left to get into that top spot. But nothing's over just yet. We've seen them do great things before individually. Simpson and Hannibro landed some really, really sick headshots yesterday, and of course, we'll see if they can do similar things here today. Moon, Zerong, huge potential. They had such a good stage 1 of the promotionals, but here in the second stage, they've kind of fallen off a little bit. They've had a rough time. They haven't really been able to find out exactly what they wanted to do. Simpson with the M24 tries to pull off a Reddit-worthy shot up the hill, but not gonna happen. Near circle though, going to pop momentarily. Is it gonna be Asnaya? Nope, it is not for sure. It is going to be Stalber. And well, Wizards sitting pretty well in it right now. Only 3 guys on the server, it would seem. And in the meantime, we have Ghost Legion trying to figure out how to park their buggies. Clearly not something they've been practicing. Meteor Makers getting themselves ready to go, boosting up, medding up. They know they have to go further north. They know they have to go northeast, to be specific. And well, I mean, there's a long way to go, and as you can, they can hear before going into the vehicles all these shots being fired all over the place, and that's of course only gonna make their rotation even harder. See Leah from all the way up east. Somebody called them the dog houses, whatever you want to call it, up here on the eastern side, just on the foot of Stalber. They have a great overview of the entire field. This is some long range shots being fired, and Leah actually connects one towards the arm, I believe, of one of the players down there. So some damage being applied. Persis getting their rotation game going around the backside of the compound. Want to get up towards Stalber early on. Yannick as well. Temporary name. They had a really early rotation to start things off, but with this eastern shift not really working their way. So now they'll be coming in a little later than anyone else. These out of the vehicle. Wants to see if he can do some damage. Sneaky came up over the top. He saw Persis shots, a few shots down in their direction, but immediately fell back down. And now LXG trying to force a fight down here. Visual already taken down. It needs to do some more damage, so it does get the finish off on towards him. Kokonas around the corner, taking down Caracas. Sorry, Kokona. That's something else. Caracas gets finished off there. Flowey and Venkonas squaring up against each other as well. Seems to me like Meteor Makers are getting themselves the short stick of that one. Ooh, look at the position right down here on the side. This could be a bit of a off angle. He's sure Saga is all by himself, but remind me, guys, if I ever make a PUBG team, I'm gonna call them the Kokonas. That's gonna be my team name. But nonetheless, Meteor Makers, as I said before, catching the short stick of this one. They were under a lot of fire. They heard all the fire before they started rotating, and well, I mean, didn't really work out. Their favorite Roopsie down as well. Now Saka down too, and I believe Meteor Makers only down to Fun remaining. Yep, Flurry finished off, and Fun now 1v3. This is gonna be a rough push up the hill. Pullman down as well. That's gonna be Persis, yet another team that needed themselves a good start to the day. They need some good performances coming out, and they go down, unfortunately. Fun, 1v3. How are you going to pull this one off? Spotted up one. Ooh, did Amir Moore spot him in return? Yes, he did. Great headshot connected there. And Beat Jamaica's taken out. We talked about them just before. They're sitting right now at 6th place. They are the team to beat for anyone else trying to make it into the lobby. And for Angry Kids, them seeing this, they are smiling all over their faces because Meet Jamaica's, they just went out in 15th with, I believe, 0 kills. So that is gonna make things extremely, or not extremely easy, but a lot easier for 4 Angry Kids and other teams. Huge potential per se. LXG as well, trying to make their way in towards the top 6 spots here. Chrissy going down. Tony with a good spray around the side of the smoke. Nades coming in now from towards Art of War, trying to apply some pressure, trying to hold them from being able to push on in. Tony gone down to about 38% HP. Andy, though, gets himself a finish off. Knock off onto Aaliyah. Memo is going to be the one to get the finish off with the Quizzy. Multiple teams engaging in this fight here, but it's right now Art of War that is seemingly coming out on top. Memo gets himself some more damage done. Mikhailovich taken down, and now the attempt to get runoff in the buggy is being full force made from forward. But over to another fight we go. Personal Courage and Ghost Legion getting themselves into a bit of a confrontation. And yes, guys, please don't ever question my my language knowledge. It's clearly perfect. You guys, Houston behind the tree does everything it can to stay up and alive, but ain't gonna happen. Personal Courage, despite sitting in 1st place, taken down immediately. 13th place for them. I think they got a few kills with them, but not a whole lot more to it than that. These finds himself Talk, so that's gonna be one more Swarm player down. And now Aurora under a lot of fire too, and that's the issue with this area up here by Stolper. If you don't get up there early enough, if teams are allowed to position themselves up in the area up north, it for you to come in late and find anywhere to, like, sort of find any place to lay low, it's gonna be near impossible. Every push you make up towards this area is out in the open, and you can see here, once a team with snipers like these, like all the guys sitting up here for temporary name, once they get their hands on the snipers and the optics with them, there's just so hard for you to find any place to hide. Because sure, you can hide in the trees or behind the trees and not be spotted from up the hills, but then you have to fight the teams that are sitting next to you. And, well, I mean, you can only get cover from so many angles when you only have a tree to hide behind. Nixty taking a big shot towards him, and now one more coming in from the other side. That's Clip saying we can engage on this one as well. These now from further away, trying to engage in multiple fights. And there's so many different teams fighting each other right now. And for Meet Jamaica's, them seeing these guys going down, that's all they would have wanted. And Vincona's now double headshots pretty much simultaneously taken in towards some of the guys from temporary names. So many fights happening at the same time, and these snipers, they're just popping all over the place. Helmets being wrecked off left and right and left and right over again. And temporary name, I mean, sure, they're sitting at 5th right now, but they cannot risk going down at this point. They need to play it so smart, so safe. And Konas, they have started getting themselves some kills. Sure, LXG have been taken out, but you still got 4 Angry Kids in the game with 1 player being alive, and he can get just a few points. That could be the difference maker once we get into the final couple of games of today. Circle gone down south. Nemerith and temporary name, they get it straight on towards them, which I guess in this spot is both good and bad, because you have with 3 guys alive, it's really hard to both control what's pushing up from the south and also what pushing down from the north. Zerong takes out Golby. Schwash taken down as well. Golby gets finished off there. There's not a whole lot more to that one. High potential starting to rack up some points as well. They're just 11 points, make that 9 points actually now out of contention here. This is only gonna get more and more close with these games coming in today. It's so interesting. Andy, good backside position there, spots out Drone, will be able to take him down as well. Nemerith gone down too, and now Simpson. It's the one with the M24. Rare to see 2 teams play with bold actions, but the Simpson and Clip duo is mastering it. At least they're having a really great success doing right now. If that's a smoke, it's not. It's on 8 and Arrows goes down. I was going to say if that's on 8, then that's going to be an easy peasy. Phase number 5. No way in hell he's getting inside the circle. Might as well just run on in. Arrows gets finished off. Mise. Not a whole lot more to do there. T-Bone has to make a run for it. All these fights that's been happening ever since the second circle, third circle, make that shifted up north towards Dalpa. So many open fights. When you try to force so many teams into this area, teams will be spotting out each other. And well, we know with this point system being so kill heavy, or kill friendly, I guess you can say, they will be taking these shots more often than not. You ain't not shooting only if you're a solo player and it's one of the late game scenarios, because even now you have a chance to do some damage here. T-Bone goes down, Wizards out in 11th, they'll make that 12th place. Dictator lands himself a headshot as well. So once finally we see Cerebro. They've been kind of chilling on the eastern side for a while, but now they're making their presence known in here. Ghost Legion. And huge potential squaring up against one another. Arthur gets himself the finish up on towards the PEL, and this is just continuous fighting happening all over the place. You can see the eastern side here. There's so many teams fighting off on this side. 4 Anchor Kids do go down just outside of placement points. They'll be staying at 7th place. Meet Jamaica's happy with that, at least for now. PEL gets himself one more finish off. It's going to be Yellow Submarine taken down. Ghost Legion will in the end fall because of it, and huge potential. 3 guys alive still. They have a good chance of making it into the top here with a good performance to finish things off. Just, it seems to me, just 4 more points would get them up tied with 4 Angry Kids. Moon hits one, connects with the M4 to take out Mini. Now spotted up in the top. Zerong tried to tap up towards him. Damage coming in. Then it's always the one to hold him off. More points being racked up by huge potential. They had a great game in phase 1. A great couple of games to say the least in phase number 1. And they're starting to get things going here in the final day on stage 2 as well. Arsenally though, too much for Zerong to handle. Gets him down. Goes down to half HP and has to stop to heal for a second. But as you can see, Denethor, he's nowhere near him. And Moon went down just before as well. It's going to be it's tough for them to really do anything to get the rest back on up to where their teammate. Moon did fall back. Didn't go down, just fell back. My bad. Fake info. See, Outlaw, he wants to get the flash here. Wants to come and get that kill. Spots the head. Misses once, misses twice. We've seen Moon land some crazy shots before, so to miss 2 shots like that, it's not something we see happening too often from him. A little bit of a calm before the storm. We see all the teams down south here. They have to make their way on up, and it's gonna be ever so difficult. Zerong does get finished off in the end. Outlaw tried to fight all different kinds of angles to take him out, and in the end he did manage to find the angle where he could get that point secured for him and his team. Levent all by himself has to crawl on further forward, but as you can see, Yannick and Beast, they're just on the other side waiting for him. Abo with a good knock on towards Denethor. Now it's going to be Moon all by himself, and he's been spotted out as well. That's going to be huge potential eliminated here. Abo taking down Denethor. Outlaw there with the finish off on towards Moon. That's going to be 6 teams remaining, and for everyone else just trying to get every single point off this one that they can. 48 points now, making things ever so much closer. Vencona's there still in this one as well. This is going to be, guys, I'm telling you, coming into the final game, we're going to have at least 3, 4, maybe even 5 teams that we won't know whether they'll be in or not. Unless if one of these teams that are sitting from 3rd down to, well, I mean, pretty much all the way down to 12th right now, really pull off some insane games today. This could be anyone's game. I mean, we've seen him land some crazy shots already, and that was one to add to the list. Tony gets the helmet ripped off, but should be able to get rest from behind safe cover. And he is a bit far from his teammates. He's sitting all the way up north by himself, trying to get the bigger overview of what's going on. Now vehicles being used, not something you see done too often. Memo gets the knock and return onto him more. They get the finish up on towards him as well. Coppen tries to make the run on up. Ain't gonna happen. Not gonna be possible. Test now down to 1 HP. Make that 4 HP. As we get a little bit of rendering coming in here. And he's just trying to stay alive. Every single placement point you can get here could be the difference maker for you. So stay on your feet. Stay put. These are getting finished up. Ooh, we see Lavender under pressure. I was putting pressure down towards Yannick there as well. I cannot talk today, sorry guys. That's Aurora, just 1 point so far. We'll get 2 placement points guaranteed as well. This ain't gonna be easy. Test lift with the scare, but as you can see, he's still not inside the circle just yet. And he has pushed down to help their teammates, but you can see Swarm as well. Swarm, they're sitting in 4th place right now. And Aaliyah just managed to make the run around. Really smart play coming in from Aaliyah, waiting and letting Andy run down to his teammates and then going back up north, because with them swooping the side like this, I'm pretty sure that Art of War would expect to have this position on a lockdown Tony. Great off angle. A little risky to go all the way down in the pit like that, but they knew that they had the pressure from above, and they did not need to make any aggressive runs on in. Yannick, he's just proning here. He knows that Art of War has multiple players alive. Does he see him? Even if he sees him, does he charge shooting? Yannick is a very, very talented player. Has played with the best of the best, and now I get to get him back in the action here. Hopefully, for him making his way into the contenders. All these bolt action snipers, they weren't really a thing in competitive not too long ago, but they're back. Arsenal chilling up on top by himself. Aztec Warriors, well, we talked about them needing some good games today if they wanted to have a chance. Now they're 4 guys alive with 6 kills to that as well. The only PUBG team I've ever heard of with a full Saudi Arabian roster. It's not something you see too often, but they were in contenders. They made their way to contenders. And, well, they didn't do that well there. I mean, they started doing extremely well in the final couple of days. But, of course, that's too late when you have so many games to be played. So they didn't manage to make their way on through, and now they're doing everything they can to get back into contenders for Season 2. Poke goes down. Does have the rock formation up there to hide behind, and I don't think anybody from Art of War are really in a position to do anything about that. Oh, look at this Levent. He could get up on third party on this if he wanted to, but it's going to be dangerous, of course, being a solo player. He spots out people on top, get that kill point. Yep, there you go. 1 more point secured for you. Now he gets spotted out himself, though, so was it really worth it? Or was it not? Tony got knocked just before. We should be able to get back up on his feet. That's a second knock, though, I believe. So, yeah, it is, because he got his helmet popped off earlier. And Memo is now starting to realize that he's kind of surrounded. Oh, that tree. The leaves there, they're just granting Yannick all the cover that he could possibly want. Does he hear the vent, though? Does he hear him around the backside? He does. Spots him out immediately. Headshot comes in to start off the fight. Now Yannick's position, despite him trying to be ever so silent, gets revealed, I guess you can say. And now he has to make the run on up. The issue here is going to be the fact that he's not inside the circle just yet. Sitting at 5th place. Nothing is safe just yet for him. What? Okay, a little bit of a visual error for us. Interesting. I think it was Yannick we had that happen to on day 1 as well, right? Maybe there's just something with spectating Yannick that forces us to get weird angles. Dictate, a crazy double nade coming in there. Does go down in return, but that's a huge one. And look at this again, Aaliyah all by himself, just chilling it out, hiding in the corner and staying alive. Art of War, though, they sure have come back in this one. Hashtag Warriors. Arsenal all by himself, 7 kills so far. And Aaliyah now coming into third party on this, realizing there's just a few teams remaining. Now it's a 1v1. Just him and Ben Q remaining. This is an insane game for Swarm. Should Aaliyah somehow be able to bring this one home? We'll be able to go and get the flush on towards Andy, I would assume. Yep, there you go. No info to be given from him. But Ben, in the meantime, will be able to get back on up. Memo, that nade. Is it going to be far enough? It's going to go right under. Whoa! So close. Almost on point on Memo, but unfortunately a bit off to the wrong side, and Aaliyah needs to pull this one off to such a high level. If he can do this, if he can somehow do this, gets down the first one. Ben is under half HP. Under half HP. Doesn't know where he is, though. Does not know where he is. Aaliyah, what can you do here? What can you pull off? Memo is crawling for info. Smart play. He knows there's no way in hell he's going to get rest off of this. He's just going to crawl. He's just going to crawl on forward. Aaliyah, of course, wants to get the finish off. Just gonna crawl forward, try to get as much info as possible. Does he hear him? Here's him over the top, spotted him now as well. 1v1. There's so much to play for here. Art of War could make their way into first place. In the start of yesterday, they were sitting in 13th. What a hell of a comeback for Andy and the guys. Where is he? This smoke is gonna grant you cover, but it's gonna obscure those audio cues. What a hell of a good performance. Painted side in use, not something we see done too often. They're just proning on each, like they've thrown a smoke in the very center, like right on the dot, and then they're just proning on each their side of it. No boosters for Ben, and seemingly no boosters on the other side either. Well, if one smoke wasn't enough, let's throw one more. I don't want to see you. If I can't see you, you can't see me. Now spots him out on the top, and Ben gets the finish off in the end. Aliyah